All right. This is a demonstration of how the messaging system works at present. I hope this is recording. We will see. I hope it's capturing all the audio. I'm going to assume it is. And if not, I'll just have to redo it. All right. So let's say I am here and I am Brigadier General Benjamin Prentice. And I want to send a message over here to General Wallace. Okay. So I'm going to prepare a message using our Discord, and I'm going to be sending that to my umpire. Now I'm not actually involving another person in this, so I'm actually just sending it to myself. But I'm going to write a message. So it's going to be from, okay, and I write the name. I write who it's to. I write the time, which let's just say it's 1600 hours. And then I write the message. All right, let's try to be somewhat grammatically correct. Okay, so I've wrote a message. I am approaching Gettysburg. Where is a good location for my brigade to camp? And I hit enter, and that sends. So this now is sent to my assistant umpire. And my assistant umpire will receive this message, and they will look at it and say, okay, let's go back to the map. And they will say that Marshall is playing as Prentice and he's here. And they will kind of calculate out, usually by counting squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. It's about 20 squares from here to here. And let's say that's going to take 2 turns for a rider on horseback to get from here to here. All right. So typically they would go ahead and drop a token. And I don't know that I have one of these tokens here, but they would drop a token to represent, oh, we do have them. Okay, so I'm going to draw a token. They will drop a token to represent the courier. And now I'm playing as the umpire, and I have calculated it's going to take about 2 turns. So at the end of turn 1, I'm going to put the courier here around, it's probably Seminary Ridge right there. And on turn 2, the courier will deliver. Okay, so the game progresses, the units move, so on and so forth, and the courier moves. Now at the end of turn 2, my umpire, my assistant umpire who's assigned to work with me, goes back to Discord here. That's not the right one. Here we are. And takes this message and copies it and pastes it to the recipient. So the person who is playing as Wallace now gets this message. Oh, okay, the general is approaching. Okay, I want to reply to him. So during what's called the umpire time, when players kind of have downtime, that's when the player who received the message has an opportunity to write their message and reply. And so the player might say from Wallace to Prentice, time would now be 1640, and would say nice spot to camp just east of my position. I will send an to guide you, period. Okay. And then they hit reply. Okay. So now this message goes back to the umpire, who delivered this message. It goes back to an umpire. And now the umpire says, okay, I have a message that has to go all the way back. And I am going to figure that after 2 turns, he's right here. And maybe the message gets here, or maybe I want to fudge it and be generous and say the message arrives, whatever, okay? In which case, when the message arrives, then I simply take this message, copy it, and I paste it in the recipient's chat. And so now the recipient gets the message and they get to read, oh, okay, so on and so forth. Okay, so I received the message. Now, how I want this to work is I want the player to send a message. Okay. Well, first, let's talk about how the turns work, what I call the cadence. We divide turns into 2 phases. The first phase is the player phase. And during the player phase, the assistant umpires who work with the master umpires or the lead umpires are the ones who actually roll the dice and make all the decisions and adjudicate everything. The assistant umpires go to the players and give a report from the master umpires. Here's what you see, here's what's happening, here's whatever. They will give one report to one player, they move to their second player, they give that player a second report, then they come back to the first player. And the first player has a couple minutes or so to make their decisions, to decide if they want to send orders or not. And they give their orders to their assistant umpire who's assigned to work with them directly. And the orders can be given in any fashion. Now, I know in proper Kriegspiel they're supposed to be written, but because we're playing for fun and we have limitations of time, we allow players to do all kinds of things. They can draw. So they might say, I want to go down this road here and camp right here. Okay. And they can take a picture, they can take a screenshot of this, and they can put this screenshot into Discord like this. And so what we do is we have them save the screenshot, and then they put that screenshot into the Discord. And those are their orders, okay? And so that's how they communicate to their side umpire who says, okay, or their assistant umpire who says, okay, here's what he wants to do. Then goes back to the master umpire. So at the end of 10 minutes, we have a timer. The timer goes off, and you've seen the code for the timer. The timer goes off, and that's the end of what's called player time. And umpire time begins. And during umpire time, the assistant umpire gives this report to the master or lead umpires, to the same things. I say master umpire because we're using some pretty strong umpires for the August 28th game. Typically, the title is lead umpire. And that's just an internal convention that we use. I know it's not necessarily standard in classical Kriegspiel. But anyway, the assistant hands off this order to the lead, who then interprets this order as well as all the other orders from all the other players and processes that. And they have a 10-minute clock that's running on that 10-minute timer where they work all of that out, okay? During that time, which we call umpire time, that's when players get to send messages to each other. They write messages and send them. And then what I want to have happen is I want those messages to land in one box, one central clearinghouse. Or it could land in 2 central clearinghouses. It could land in a box for the Union and a box for the Confederate, or side A, side B, red, blue, whatever. That's probably a better way to do it. But what happens is all the players on one side, they send their message to one box. When the message arrives in a box, I'm going to have an umpire sitting there, and the umpire's exclusive purpose in life is to take a look at the message, identify where the player is. So I have player here who is sending the message. I have player here who is receiving the message. And based on my calculations, it should take 1, 2 turns for the message to arrive. And then what I want them to do with that bot, using the bot, is on that message, I want them to somehow specify 2 turns. And after they've told the bot that this message takes 2 turns to arrive, and after 2 turns of the game has passed, and the timer bot actually keeps track of the turns as well. At the end of that process or period, then I want the message to automatically be delivered during umpire time, where the players can then receive the message and handle all of their correspondence. And that's basically what I have in mind. So the message is sent during umpire time. It lands in a clearinghouse, a box, a central clearing box, or whatever we want to call it. The umpire there simply measures the distance, 1, 2, 2, and whatever, enters that into the message bot system, and then the message bot automatically delivers that message to the recipient in 2 turns duration during the umpire turn. So that's what I'm thinking. Now, whatever system we have to make that work, obviously Discord seems to be what's preferred, but if you have something that is even more powerful and intuitive and isn't going to create a lot of stress for our players, I'm absolutely open for that. It's just we have some folks who can barely keep up with Discord and Tabletop Simulator. I've got 1 or 2 guys who are saying, I can't even run Tabletop Simulator. All I've got is Discord. And we're pushing those guys to kind of work on that because they're really at the low end of the technological spectrum. As for me, I've got 2 monitors. I can open up a laptop or bring in a second computer. I can actually have 3 machines running with 4 different screens, 5 screens if I want. You know, I'm pretty tech savvy. I can go crazy and all this. But the individual players generally don't have that ability. A lot of them are confined to just a single laptop with a single screen. They might not even know how to dock the windows on the left and right side of their screen to get the 2 different panels showing at the same time, for all I know. So that's the thing. Now, if we have something and it works and it's powerful and it's easy and intuitive to use, and it doesn't take a lot of resources for their machines to run it, then I would be very happy with training players how to use that system and how to use the Alt Tab feature of their keyboard to go back and forth and use whatever it is you put together for us. But if it's going to be too difficult, if we think it's just going to be a little bit much for people to run on their machines, then maybe we need to try to stick with Discord. But if it won't work in Discord, then I will certainly take a second party or third party system, whatever. I don't know how we want to refer to this. But if you want to use a system that's off Discord, outside of Discord, I would rather do that than have nothing. And in fact, I'm actually in favor of using something that's not part of Discord if we can do it with minimal headache for everyone involved. So that just depends on how intuitive it is and how hard it is for players to utilize it. So, all right, so that's kind of my video on how things work now and how we want things to work, you notice that if it goes to a clearinghouse, the assistant umpire does not have to handle the message traffic. Instead, I have a dedicated message umpire who handles the message traffic. That will help the turns keep on that 10-minute schedule, or 10-minute cadence, if you will, as I call it. And that's really where we want to be. So we're pretty close to it, even with the side umpires. I'm sorry, the assistant umpires managing the message traffic. But I think we can get there if we use the bot, and it's going to make the whole day a breeze. And so I'm very excited. So I want to say thank you, and I hope this is a helpful tutorial for you. Thanks. Bye-bye.